So I'm gonna try not to be emotional at all while I tell you guys this whole story. And let me just get out of here because the lighting is a little bit screwy. But I tend to be a very, very private person, so that is really the main reason why I've never really vlogged, because I didn't really want certain people in my business. And it would be nice if all of my followers were just, you know, people that I met on the web, like you guys, like, you know, friends that I meet on YouTube. But unfortunately, I have ex-boyfriends that follow me. I have people that I used to date, and you know what I mean, like all kinds of people that I just feel like aren't, like their hearts aren't in the right place. So they're only following me to kind of be nosy, like to see what's going on. So it just doesn't feel genuine. So I'd rather not say anything because I don't want everyone in all of my business. Like, I've had people call me and say, oh, you know, you look like you're living good, you know, let me hold some money, or let me come and stay with you, like all that stuff. So I don't say anything about my life and certain things. So vlogging was really hard for me. But I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna tell this whole story, and it's only because it made me feel so, like, even though I'm dating someone, I felt really alone in this moment. Because when you don't live with the person that you're dating, for me it's liberating because I get my free time. I get to like be myself by myself. I get my moments away. I get to come home and watch Netflix and be in my bathrobe all day. Like, I get to do absolutely nothing. And when you're in a relationship, you're considerate of the other person, so you're constantly, you know, not constantly, because I feel like if it's easy, if it's a natural, organic, like easy, laid back relationship, there's not a whole lot you know, involved as far as responsibilities and all of that stuff. But for the most part, being alone for me, like, I am the definition of an extrovert. People say an extrovert is someone who's like, they love to be around other people, and it's totally the opposite. Like, an extrovert is the kind of person that, yes, they can be around other people, but to refuel themselves and to recharge, they need to have alone time. And that's how I am. Like, I really do cherish my alone time. I get overwhelmed if I'm around people for too long. I get overwhelmed if I feel crowded or cluttered. Like, I have to be in an open space by myself for extended periods of time. If not, I'm just like, I'm depressed, I'm horrible, it's just bad. So last night, I'm saying all of this to go around in a full circle. So basically, my roommate is moving out. She came today and got some of her stuff, and then she's coming tomorrow to get the rest of it. So I don't want to say how I felt about it. Like, it was kind of a sad moment for me, because it's like, okay, I have the place to myself. Yeah, I'll have more room to spread out, and I won't like be living on top of myself with all this stuff, and I'll be able to, like, you know, spread out. But at the same time, she's also become like my sister. Like, my roommate has become like a part of me. So when I come home and, you know, I want somebody to drink a glass, have a glass of wine with, or laugh, or whatever the case may be, like, she's that person. But since she's been in her own relationship, she hasn't been here that much either. So it's kind of a natural growth that we both needed to take. So it wasn't that big of a deal. But last night, I got home from the airport like around 8 o'clock. I was so exhausted. I'd been on the road for like 5 days. All I was caring about was getting in my bed. I even left my phone in my bag, didn't even take it out, like didn't charge it, went straight to sleep. While I was in my bed, I had this air conditioning unit, and you see the box here. It's actually going back to Home Depot right now as we speak. So I'm hauling this out, and my super is gonna come and help me take it downstairs. Okay. Yeah, so my super is gonna come and help me take everything downstairs. I need to put all this stuff in the bag. And last night when I was sleeping in my bed, I kind of felt something. Like, I felt something like pinch me. Like, I felt like something bit me. So I reached down on my leg to, like, you know, kind of feel like, what is that on my leg? And literally, as I grabbed my leg, I felt like legs. Like, something was there that was totally not normal. I jumped out of the bed, literally leaped, and the bed is in the exact same position that it was when I got out of it. I literally tore the covers away, jumped out of the bed, ran to the light, turned the light on, and lo and behold, there was a spider right here. And it was legit, like, the spot is right there where he's still at. It was like that big. It was huge. Huge spider. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. I look at the clock. It was 1:09. I'm screaming. I don't know what to do. I'm panicking. This thing just bit me. It's still in my bed. I'm freaking out. I grabbed a bunch of Kleenexes, and it actually stayed long enough for me to like panic. Look at the Kleenexes. Go into the kitchen. Go get a spray thing of bleach and like spray. Like, I didn't know what to do. I was freaking out. So I said, okay, Kleenex. They're big enough. I could grab it. I don't even know how I did this. Like, now looking back, I feel like it was brave as hell for me to have done that. But I literally grabbed the Kleenex and grabbed him, bunched him up, and I felt him moving. So I crunched harder, and I feel like it was his bite that gave me so much courage, because I'm like, no, this fucker bit me. Like, this is not going down. I am going to kill this thing. This is not getting me. This is not going to get the best of me. And I crunch it. I run into the kitchen, and I go to the bathroom, actually, and I was going to flush it, and something said, no, in case something happens, and this thing is poisonous, you need to be able to prove the species of spider, what kind of spider it is, what happened. Like, I want to know what bit me and what is causing all of this. So I came into the kitchen, and I got a Ziploc bag. And I'm sorry the whole place is a mess, because, again, we're in the process of moving everything. I put it in a Ziploc bag, and I doused it with bleach to make sure that if he wanted to wake up, he stood no chance in hell. Like, no chance. Doused it with bleach. Look at this thing. This is how big. And I don't even know if the camera's like... It was huge. Like, huge. Like, scary huge. And so immediately I just like panic. I'm freaking out. I'm here by myself. No one is here. And it bit me. So I just started crying. Like, I just broke down into tears. And I just sat on my couch and I was just like in tears. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Who am I going to call? I have no one to call. My relationship is long distance. So I can't call, you know what I'm saying, and be like, hey, come up here and get this spider. Like, no, like, I'm literally at the edge of the bed. I'm not at the edge of the bed, but on the couch, crying, in tears. Crap, I gotta go get this car. Pause. I need to go get my super to help me move this box downstairs, and I'll come back. So the zip car has to be picked up. The light is on. The zip car has to be picked up by 8 o'clock. It's 7:57 right now, and I have to turn it back in by 9. So I'm like busting it down this sidewalk to make sure I get it. Get the AC unit, put it in the back, take the Home Depot, unload it, get my money back, and bring the car back within 1 hour. So wish me luck. Oh, Scott. Okay. Thank you so much, Scott. I just wanted to make sure because I didn't want anything to happen. They're like, oh, you didn't do it before you drove off. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for caution and have an excellent day, Alicia.
Okay, you too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. So I just called Zipcar because, of course, when I get in the car, I'm rushing. I get the reservation right at 8 o'clock. I have to be back by 9, load this AC up. Mind you, my super said he's going to help me, but now he's in the shower. So I'm like losing time on the reservation. So I don't get out and check the car until I get to my apartment, which is like 8:05, 8:06. And I noticed the right-hand passenger door is dented in. I'm like, yo, are you kidding me right now? Zipcar is like psycho about you reporting damages before you pull off. And they have a log of when the engine is started and all that stuff. So I was like, oh my God, they're going to try to like, you know what I mean? So I like made sure, I just called them and I'm like, dude, make sure that you already have this damage reported and that it was before I got in the car. Like, don't play. And at first he's like, oh, I don't see anything. I don't see anything in our history or our files that there's been any damage to the right-hand passenger door. I'm like, well, there's legit damage and it didn't happen in 14 minutes, not on my dime. Like, what in the world? Because it's at 8:14 now by the time I'm calling. I'm like, I already have all this stuff going on. So, you know, I was upset. Anyway, long story short, you heard the end of that conversation. He's like, okay, and I'm glad this is recorded so they know that I spoke to Scott at Zipcar and he said, everything is fine. Don't worry about it. The damage has already been reported about the dent on the right, the passenger side door. So we're good with that. Anyway, so I'm on the way to Home Depot. It is 8. That thing said 8:15. I don't know. Anyway, so I got like 20, well, 35, 40 minutes maybe to do this, drop it. And I wanted to go to Trader Joe's because it's literally right in front of the thingamajigga. So I'd like to go. I don't know if I'd have time. The last time I did that, I was cutting it too close. So I don't know to play by ear. And Trader Joe's at this hour in New York is a disaster. Like, everybody and their father is trying to go to Trader Joe's. I should have took that light. This whole incident with the spider, like, that was traumatizing to me. Like, really traumatizing. I already don't do bugs. I don't do critters. Like, I'm psycho about it. Ask anyone who knows me. I will, if I find a bug in my house, I will trap this sucker, put him on a piece of fly trap, inspect his ass, not touch him or anything, but just like look at him. I will Google the bug, see why it came into my place, why it's invading my space, what it does, what purpose it serves. Is it poisonous? Does it bite? I look up all this stuff. Like, I'm psycho about like bugs. I'm just crazy about them. And the biggest thing for me with spiders is like, I know everybody hates them, they're creepy crawly, but I knew that they served a purpose. So I never really like bothered spiders like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just let them rock because it's a spider. You serve a really good purpose. You're gonna kill all the other bugs around, so I let them rock. So for one to like crawl into my bed, and I need you to understand, my bed has a duvet cover, a flat sheet, a fitted sheet, and then another fitted sheet. So he had to go under a few layers. Like, he had to really get in my bed. Like, that's what really bothered me. So it just freaked me out, like freaked me all the way out. Like, I literally almost lost my mind. I couldn't even believe, like I was in tears, like just sitting on the couch crying, like, oh my God, like the odds of this happening. Like, I've caught insects on the floor, on the side of the bed, or somewhere crazy, but for it to be in the bed with me when I'm sleeping, bite me, like, I was devastated. So of course now, you know, I can't even sleep. So I get to my friend Edomia's house, and this is like literally like 1:30 in the morning. I don't even know how she answered the phone. This girl is like almost never home, just like me. The odds of her actually being home while I was there were insane. Anyway, I was already like in tears, like just losing my mind. It was so scary, like traumatizing. Like, I don't think anyone, I can't even put into words like how traumatized I was. I was just like, it was horrible. So then when I got to my friend Adomia's house, I can't even sleep because all I could see is the image of the spider laying in the bed in the white sheet. And my sheets are like stark white, so you couldn't miss this thing. So every time I tried to sleep, I would close my eyes and all I saw was the big spider against the white sheets. Like, I just couldn't, it was just, it was horrible. It was stressful. I slept, I don't know, I think I probably got like an hour and a half sleep maybe in a span of like 8 hours because I just couldn't. It was just horrible. It was a nightmare. So I left my friend Adomia's house and came back to the apartment to help my roommate move her stuff around or move her stuff out or whatever. And I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for tonight because, like, I don't know. Like, it's so sad. So the reason why I said I was hoping I didn't get emotional on this is because it just made me so sad. Like, sometimes when you live by yourself, it's a happy moment because you're like, oh yeah, you know, you have a place to yourself. But then there are moments like when this happens and you can't just be like, do you know what I mean? Like, I can't even explain that, but it just was a really alone moment. And I don't have a lot of those moments because, like I said, I like being on my own. Like, I'm a middle child, so I was born to like be independent, stand alone in the middle, like don't want anybody on my left or my right. Like, I'm so good in the middle. I don't want anyone around me. So it's just, it was traumatizing. And it's moments like this, like living in New York, it reminds you that you are alone. You know what I mean? Like, you already know and you have a good time and you live with it and it's not a big deal and you're in a relationship, you're happy. You're just not at that point. For me, I'm not at that point where I'm going to move in like right now necessarily, like with my significant other, because I still have dreams and career goals that I'm trying to aspire to. And so I would like to get to that point first before I'm able to say, okay, let me give everything up and move. Because the guy that I'm dating, it's much easier for me to go to him than it would be for him to come to me. So that's why I really love and appreciate the fact that he doesn't make a big deal about me trying to stay in New York and live out my dreams, my goals, my ambitions, and my aspirations. Like, I love that he allows that and that he's supportive of it. But with that comes this whole, you know what I mean? Like those moments where you're like, oh, you know what I mean? So that's the thing. And I want to tell any girl that's listening that you're trying to achieve your goals and you're trying to like do your thing and have a career. And I try to talk to other successful women, like I have mentors and stuff, and I try to get them to tell me about this and tell me what it's like so I can prepare myself. And honestly, that's what it's like. You're not going to be able to have it all. You can't have your career and a man and a family and a this and a that. Like most very successful women don't have all those things. Like Oprah Winfrey, I love Oprah, live, eat, and breathe Oprah. Like, have read this woman's biography inside and out. Have gotten to the point with my life where I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to say this, but like, you know, like my views on, oh, I have to be married by this age and have a baby and this and the other, and whether or not I have kids, like, it just is what it is for me. Like, as long as I can live my life and do the things that I aspire to do and not have zero regrets, literally, and not look back and be like, dang, I wish I would have did that 10 years ago, dang. And that's what it is for me. So anyway, I'm blabbing too much. It's 8:27. I gotta get this car, return this AC unit, and then I'll come back to you guys. So, see you later.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me. Hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, hold tight. Chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move.
So I just returned it and I'm on the way back to drop the car off. I gotta listen to Playboy Cardi on the way home because that's like the only thing. Playboy Cardi's the only thing that makes me like forget that something is actually happening in my life. So of course I can only pay like a fraction of a second because YouTube would be like, no. Yeah, so oh my god, I'm so happy that that's over. Do you guys understand? So me taking that air conditioning unit back, let me tell you what that was about. That air conditioning unit was a portable air conditioner. I don't know if you guys, and it is really dark, like dang, hold on. I don't know if you guys know portable air conditioning units, but like here in New York, most apartments do not have central air, so we have to buy either window air conditioning units and put them in the window, or like as of late, they've been producing these portable air conditioners, which are nice because you can move them from room to room. They come on a set of wheels, and some of them are built-in dehumidifiers, which I needed for my room because my apartment gets really, really humid. So I was like, oh, perfect. Like, this is great. That thing was $319. With taxes, it came out to be $348.16. So I spent $350 on it. So for me to have any trouble, you know that was going back ASAP. So anyway, the first night that I bought it, it was 90 degrees in New York. It wouldn't go below 75 degrees. Mind you, I bought this thing, lugged it up 4 flights of stairs. Like, before you feel sorry for me, let me just tell you, I'm very independent. Like, I will not call somebody and beg them for anything. I will go through all kind of lengths to do something on my own before I call anybody and ask for help. So don't feel sorry for me and be like, oh, I wish you had a man up there. Like, yeah, I had that lonely moment and I was like sad, but there's certain things like little stuff like that. Well, that's not little because that thing was like mad heavy. Like, it was like at least 70 pounds. But yeah, I lugged that thing all the way up 4 flights of stairs on a 4th floor walk up by myself. I tried to get one friend to help me, but if I make one attempt and I feel like it's not working or it's not going through, I won't even try. Like, I'll just do it myself. So lugged that thing up 4 flights of stairs, finally get into my apartment. It's 90 degrees on this day, mind you. I'm sweating beads, bullets, and everything between. Finally plugged that thing up. Took a shower. I was so happy. I was like, yeah, this is great. So easy to install. Like, everything worked out great. That night I went to bed. The thing never went below 75. I woke up. It had been running for hours. Woke up. never went below 75. So I said, okay, maybe, you know, it has to get acclimated, something. I don't know, I try to make an excuse for it. But at $350, I don't need to make any excuses. It just needs to work, like straight out the box. Second night, didn't go below 75. So like for a few nights, it did the same thing. Then one night, it went down to 73. I was like, oh, okay, this is nice. Then it never went to 73. I had that thing for 9 days. Out of 9 days, it basically never went below 75. So I was like, this has to go back. The biggest thing for me was, that's a whole lot better, sorry guys. But the biggest thing for me with the AC unit was that it had an opening. There's a hose, a really long, big hose. Now, if you're gonna get a portable AC unit, know this, they are bulky. They're huge, they're bulky, and they're ugly, like really ugly. So this thing, this guy is like all in the wrong lane. Anyway, this thing had like this really long hose that went out the window, and because that hose was so big, basically anything that wanted to could crawl in the hole. It was huge. Like, I even thought about a bird flying in hose. I thought about like a squirrel getting caught in a hose. I was just imagining like all these ridiculous things going through that hose because it was so thick. I'm like, why would they build this thing so big? Then on top of that, they didn't build it with like a mesh attachment. So I was like, oh, maybe I can go to the hardware store and buy a mesh. Honey, I was already going through too much by going to the hardware store. That first day I did my vlog, I bought a hose attachment for it because you have to drain it every 5 hours. Like the water accumulates in there and you have to drain it. So I was already going through too many lengths for a $350 air conditioning unit. So one, go get a hose, two, go get a mesh to cover the thing on the outside. Craziness. So here is my conclusion to the whole spider drama. I think that sucker came through the hose. Like, no lie. I think he came in through the hose and that's how he got inside. Because this is the crazy part. This was the only night that I turned the air conditioning unit towards my bed. It was like literally right in front of my bed, at the foot of my bed, facing me because it was so hot. Sorry, the camera just basically said, bye, too hot, gotta go. Anyway, so it was the first night that I had actually faced the unit to my bed because it was so hot. And I didn't really think about that when it first happened. I was like, oh, I don't know where this came from, how it came. All I could think was, oh my God, my landlord needs to cut these bushes down because we have like these vines growing on the outside of our building. And when I say they're growing, like the entire building is covered. Like when I walk back, if it's still light enough outside, I'll take a thing of it. But there's like these vines that have wrapped themselves around the building and it's covered. So I was like, oh, these bugs are coming from these vines. And I know they are because the first year those vines started to grow, I put glue traps in my windows and you wouldn't believe the little bugs that I would catch, honey. Sometimes it would be teeny tiny spiders and it'd be medium spiders, but it was always something in the trap. So I was like, oh, my super needs to come cut these vines down. This is ridiculous. Like, it's pretty on the outside, but not to live with because those things were getting really thick and the branches were like big as trees at this point. So anyway, when I go to disassemble the unit, something just told me, look in the holes, girl. Look in the holes. Disassemble the holes from the window, the unit, because it's going back. When I took it off of the hose attachment out of the window and I looked down the shaft, there were a little bitty, like there was a little spider in there. So my thing is, when the AC is off, things could crawl in there. So if I'm gone during the day and the AC is not... Oh, shit. Dang, talking to y'all, I just like legit missed the turn. And I'm legit about to like reverse down this street. Let me see. I gotta turn this down because you know YouTube. I like legit missed this turn and I'm like waiting to reverse down this street. And I passed it by like seconds. Not even minutes, but seconds. Like it's literally right here. Sheesh. Okay, I gotta turn this zip card in because last time they charged me like $55 for a 2-second late fee. So I'm gonna call y'all back. So anyway, a little tiny spider and another little insect was inside the hose. And that's when I said, oh, this is where this thing came from. Because my bed is also up against the window, so that's why I was so close to the AC. Having my bed next to the window in the first place isn't any good anyway because that's a recipe for disaster. But my bed has been next to that window for like at least 3 years and nothing like that has ever happened. So anyway, it came in through the AC unit. The AC unit went back and that's done. Like I'm not even playing. No more of that. I'm just gonna use my old 5000 BT unit, put it right back in the window and call it a day. And that's it for my vlog. I'm going to walk back home after this. The apartment's a mess, so of course I don't need to be filming in there. But that's it. Thanks for listening to my really bad thing that happened. I'm done crying about it. I cried literally before I started filming this because my mom called me. She's like, are you okay? I was like, no. The spider was in my bed and it bit me. It was huge. Like, it was so sad. Like, I really didn't even want to film this because I was like, I'm gonna start crying. I'm like a hot mess. But anyway, thanks guys. I forgot to tell you, I'm so excited I returned the Zipcar on time. Zipcar charges you a $55 late fee for any reservations over 1 minute past the due time. So if your car is due back at 9 and you return at 9:01, $55. Nobody told you, I told you. Because nobody told me and I was like, are you kidding me? So, also, these are the best cookies in the entire world. You have to try these cookies. The best. I come and I hoard and I buy them like by the tens. Like, and they're only $2.99. So when I come here, that's my favorite thing to get. Like, love that.
Can make